All right, so just to refresh your memory, last week when we were together, the last time we were together painting, we were using acrylic paint to try to achieve the effect of value, okay? I have a couple of different versions here, 3 actually. So you can see the difference in color varying from one to the next. These are probably a little close together. You're seeing a better dark range when the color is a little lighter, especially up on the projector. The projector makes this just be one black blah. Yours should feel different, okay? So I understand we have a projector challenge and this just looks dark. Today, we are going to add the next concept to this, which this is one way to make value with white and black. A better way to make value is with a complementary color and to utilize that concept of intensity. Because you can see up here on this yellow one, when I add black to yellow, my yellow just turns really green because black has a lot of blue pigment in it. So my sphere shaded with the yellow and just adding black, my darker sections of the yellow sphere end up looking green, which can be kind of an odd effect in a painting. Like if I were imagining painting a sunflower, for instance, right? I don't want funny green shadows on my sunflower petals, but I'm going to need shadows on my sunflower petals, so I need a better solution than black. So that is where a complementary color comes in. So if we use an intensity scale, so here's a finished example. It's the same as watercolor, right? I'm going to use my complementary colors. So we have our 3 common color choices, which are red and green, blue and orange, yellow and purple. So I have my yellow, I have my purple. And then to make my yellow get darker, I'm adding a tiny bit of purple, tiny bit more purple, tiny bit more purple until I make this brown. And then I do the same with purple, add a little bit of yellow, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of yellow. And again, that looks really dark because it is really dark. Now you can see when I shade my shape using this yellow and purple combination, I don't have any of that strange green. I just get a nice shadowed half of my cone, because purple added to the yellow just kind of dulls and dirties the yellow out, and so we get more convincing shadows. So we are going to do that as our next step. So on this example, I have blue, so I'm going to use blue, and I'm going to use my blue with orange. Now, this can be tricky to mix an orange for this. So I have complementary color tubes on the counter for you today. So over here on the side counter, actually under where it says painting 2 and 3, I will put the orange tube back over here. I have 2 different colors of green. Either one works fine. So if you have a red, you can choose a green. And if you have yellow, the purple is here as well. Okay, so you can bring your palette over here and you can grab a little bit of whatever complementary color paint you need. And that paint is over on the counter under where it says painting 2 and 3. So I'm going to zip through this. Yep. I'm going to see if my paint's still wet. It is. So I'm going to just add a little orange to my palette. And I already have my blue. I'll try to move all this so you can see it. So now there's my orange. I'll find a spot that's not wet. So what I'm going to do here is paint. I'm going to start just with the color, right? So I have just my blue. And I'm going to scoop a little bit of this blue out, and I'm going to put it out here on my palette to use. And what I'm going to do is just grab a little bit of orange and mix it in with this blue. And you can see right away, poop, I got way too much blue, or way too much orange, so I'm going to need more of the blue. I don't want it to go too far, too fast. I just want to gradually lighten it up. So There we go. Or gradually darken it. So it should feel like one step darker. If it doesn't feel one step darker, if it feels more than one step darker, you can quick come and grab a little bit more of the color, and I can mix it right here on the paper to make it be a little more blue, okay? Then it can come out here. I'm gonna just kind of mix these two together. Now those are very much the same. Try to grab a little bit more of that orange. And this, you can see it's really dark. It's really hard to see what I'm doing. So if we slide to this underneath, you can see here it says add white to your intensity scale. So you can do this as its own separate thing, or you can do it now. So I have this color. If I'm really having a hard time seeing it, I can go ahead and add some white to it. And I'll show you a little bit different way to do this as well. And now you can see, right, that darker color, and it's kind of grayed out. So why we have this next phase. I sort of recommend you do the whole first one to start with and then add the white, and I'll show you why in a second. Because like now I just wrecked my pile of color. So we'll just start again. So remember, all of these should be blue. They will just be increasingly murky blue. This middle one, between these two, is probably going to be pretty close to black, or a funky dark neutral. So that's what I'm trying to mix right now, is kind of the between of the red and the green and the orange. I went a little more blue, so I'm gonna have to just back up. There, it's like a weird gray brown kind of color. Now I'm gonna clean this out, and I'm gonna do the same from the opposite side, which will be easier for you guys to see because I'm gonna do the orange. I am gonna move some of my orange out here. I'm gonna grab a tiny bit of the blue. A tiny bit more of the blue. If they end up looking the same, or like mostly I just didn't mix my paint together, and then a little bit more of the blue. Those look the same. I'm gonna grab more. Went all the way blue. So there would be my intensity scale between the blue and the orange. Now I'm going to imagine shading this shape. So I need a light section and a dark section, but you can see it would feel a little strange. Like usually objects are one color, right? This cone is either a blue cone or it's an orange cone. So I have to decide. If I'm painting a blue cone, I'm gonna go from the blue as the light side to this like murky gray browny kind of color, okay? If I'm gonna paint an orange cone, I'm gonna start with the orange and I'm gonna gradually go this way. Because it's easier for you to see, I'm going to choose the orange. So I have this kind of dark color first. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on the dark side of my cone. And I'm just gonna gradually add orange back into the pile of paint. And I'm gonna mix here on the paper as much as possible. So you can see I'm gradually getting brighter. You can also see kind of how transparent orange paint is. I'm seeing those stripes through, even though I don't have any water. But I'm also trying to kind of blend these as I go. So you can see that I'm going back over that kind of darker section and trying to blend as I come forward. Now I'm going to kind of get rid of some of that dirtier orange paint and go for a brighter orange. And then it's a lot like the color triangle where I'm trying to blend and kind of smooth those transitions while the paint is wet on my paper. But you can see now I have the effect of an orange cone. I have the bright, the medium, it's gradually getting darker. I can increase that sensation of darker if I want and add a little bit more of the blue over here. And then I can use the blue to make my shadow like out of blue. All right, so you're going to use the complementary color from whatever you used at the top. Okay, there are the color choices. I'm going to go ahead and let you work on this for a little bit, and then we're going to talk about adding the white section.